Tonight we're hearing from the brother of a man who died after a traffic stop last December. How he says the family is still waiting for answers, plus an update on the investigation.
And voters approved bond changes for the city of Springdale. Officials tell us how these new measures will help the city improve. Plus,
border battle. I'm Christopher Salas in Washington with what's happening on Capitol Hill ahead of the expiration of Title 42.
Live, local, late breaking. This is 4029 News at 6.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Allison Wise.
And I'm Brandon Evans. New information tonight in the case of a West Fork man who died following a traffic stop back in December.
We'll get to 4029's Paul Petit, who is in West Fork, with an update.
According to the Arkansas State Police, Michael Hanna died after he was tased by a West Fork police officer following a traffic stop. We've learned a West Fork officer involved in that incident has resigned. 49-year-old Michael Hanna of West Fork died after being tased by a West Fork police officer here along Highway 71 in West Fork, according to an Arkansas State Police report. Well, now we've learned a West Fork officer involved in that December 29th incident resigned from the department May 4th.
We need some answers for sure. Typically, when you see stuff like that happen and people are falling off left and right, they're getting away from a problem of some sort. Hopefully, it's not because they're not wanting to be held accountable for anything that happened.
In a copy of the resignation letter obtained from the West Fork mayor's office, West Fork officer Chris Cordero wrote that since the incident, quote, "My family and I have went through a tremendous amount of stress and safety has been in question." Harris says he's been in communication with the Washington County prosecutor about the case.
The investigation's over. They've been handed all the evidence, the medical examiner's report, everything's been turned over to them.
According to the initial police report, a West Fork officer involved was placed on administrative leave following the incident. We do not know how many officers were involved. West Fork Police Chief John Nelson retired January 1st. Harris says he was told by the prosecutor's office that he would have the opportunity to watch the West Fork police body camera footage.
They've advised me against it because it is my brother. But I have to know what happened to him that day, and the only thing so far that I don't know is what is on that video. We reached out to the Washington County Prosecutor's Office and the Arkansas State Police to obtain a copy of the investigation, but we have not heard back. In West Fork, Paul Petit, 4029 News.
All right, well, it's an impact day for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, so time to take a look at your forecast.
Yeah, Darby's joining us now in the studio. Darby, you're tracking rain.
We are, and appears that rain may be causing some issues on the roads.
Yes.
As well. Let's go ahead and start with a look at radar, and we can see that I've been seeing some pretty hefty showers and thunder showers work their way through. No warnings with any of this. Kind of an upper level low moving through central Arkansas, and we're on the north quadrant of that low, and so our rain's coming from east to west across northwest Arkansas. Very heavy rain just pushed through the area between Fayetteville and West Fork around Greenland. Pretty hefty downpours coming into Rogers, about to come into Bentonville, down Avoca right here. Going to be coming into Pea Ridge, Bella Vista after that. And you take a look at the River Valley, we can see that we do have some of that rain across the River Valley too. Not as heavy for the most part, but certainly some showers. Take a look here. This is I-49 looking north in Rogers, and you can see, well, traffic not doing too bad right here, but you go a little bit farther north. As you get closer to Bella Vista on the very north side of Bentonville going northbound, some sort of accident appears to have happened. We've got big time backups going northbound on I-49 between Bentonville and Bella Vista. Something to keep in mind right there. I'd avoid that area. In Fort Smith here on I-540, yeah, we got some wet roads. Of course, trying to get over I-540 over the bridge there into Van Buren. Going to be slow, as it always is this time of evening with all the construction. We'll have these off and on showers throughout the night into tomorrow morning, right into mid-morning. But Allison, by mid-afternoon tomorrow, we start to quiet things back down, only to see more rain chances return from the Mother's Day weekend. We're going to talk more about that coming up.
And we'll move to this now. The 15-year-old boy arrested in the killing of a Fort Smith mother appeared in court today for the first time. The judge set the bond of Kimil Mark Stuckey at $1.25 million, cash only. That's in connection with 2 different armed robberies. The teen is being charged as an adult.
And Stuckey is facing 4 charges in connection with those 2 robberies. He's accused of an armed robbery in Barling in December of 2022. He's also facing charges in connection with the murder of 26-year-old Chanel Moore. Moore was shot and killed while she was working at Doug's Eastside convenience store in March.
Stuckey is facing an aggravated robbery charge in the Barling robbery case. He's facing first-degree murder, aggravated robbery, and terroristic act charges in connection with Moore's murder. Moore's father was in the courtroom in tears. He chose not to do an interview today, but told us it was a very difficult day as he is still grieving the loss of his daughter and now helping raise her 4 young children.
And for the first time in 5 years, this year's Pride events will not feature the Walton Arts Center.
4029's Reagan Hubbard's live for us in Fayetteville to explain why. Reagan.
Yeah, so behind me is the Fayetteville Town Center, where the NWA Pride Youth Zone will take place due to the Walton Arts Center's decision to not participate this year. In a statement given to 4029 News, Walton Arts Center spokeswoman Jennifer Wilson said, in part, our decision was made in the interest of safety concerns for performers, patrons, and staff due to the divisive political rhetoric at this time. The drag story times are part of the NWA Pride Youth Zone that has been hosted at the Walton Arts Center since 2018. The Youth Zone will instead be held at the Fayetteville Town Center. We reached out to the NWA Pride Director, Richard Gathright, who says, quote, "This is not what Fayetteville stands for." State lawmakers introduced a bill this year that would have banned certain drag performances around minors. The bill was revamped and explicit references to drag performances were removed before it passed. A U of A law school graduate and LGBTQ performer who attends NWA Pride annually says the Walton Arts Center was a place where he found community when relocating to Fayetteville. He says the Walton Arts Center's decision is disappointing and consequential.
I hope that they realize that they are giving legitimacy to a lot of the attacks on us through this very decision that they've made. Whatever they may put forth as the real justification, in terms of optics, it looks like a massive organization that has historically supported us is now pulling the rug out from beneath us when the legislature starts to attack us.
Now, the NWA Pride Director does say changing locations will not affect the event in any way. The event will begin on June 24th around 11 a.m. and will take place before the annual Pride Parade on Dixon Street. In Fayetteville, Reagan Hubbard, 4029 News.
Reagan, thank you. Let's turn now to your commitment coverage. Voters in our area made their voices heard on Election Day, and the results are in. In Springdale, all 3 bond issues on the ballot passed. They will fund a new senior center, new fire station, as well as improvements for streets and parks. Now, Springdale's mayor says the city is ready to hit the ground running on these approved projects.
4020's Jacob Murphy's live in Springdale with what happens next. Jacob.
Well, Brandon and Allison, those park and road projects can't get started until those bonds are finalized, which the city is hoping for that happens around sometime this summer, hopefully in July.
This bond wasn't about, adding another park, but it was about improvement of what we had.
Changes are coming in Springdale to parks and roads.
It's why it's important with the growth that we have to be able to continue to improve roads, improve intersections, build new roads where needed, make new connections.
The city will move ahead with $130 million for road projects. Up first,
overpass over I-49 connecting Emma Avenue and Harbor Avenue. Because that's already designed, we've already got the right-of-way acquired, so I think we'll be ready to go on that pretty quickly.
And several other road extensions and connections.
We need it. It's such a big issue for the city, for the streets.
Vernon Tarver with the Springdale Parks and Rec Department talked about the park projects.
We really needed this to, improve lighting, improve facilities, to keep up with all the growth of our programs.
That will start by the end of the year.
And this is going to allow us to do that by improved facilities, improved fields, turf. We're going to be able to stay ahead of that pace of the growth of our programs for a long time, for years to come.
Once those bonds are finalized, the city has 3 years to spend that money that they freed up by extending and changing those bonds. We're live in Springdale. Jacob Murphy, 4029 News.
Around Beaver Lake, voters approved an increase in property taxes to help fund the Beaver Lake Fire Department. The fire chief told us he worried about the department keeping pace as the area keeps growing. Beaver Lake only has 2 fire stations. He says they get more calls now. They have 1 full-time employee and 16 volunteers. The tax increase would be an extra $50 per year starting in 2024.
And in Bentonville, voters chose not to approve an increase to the NWAC millage. NWAC's millage was brought down from 3 to 2.6 mils in 2005 due to tax reassessments. Now, this vote would have brought it back to 3. And for more results, check out our website, 4029tv.com. Just download the free app. And lawmakers in Washington now scrambling to enact new rules and legislation as the end of Title 42 nears. The pandemic-era immigration rule expires tomorrow.
Christopher Salas is in our Washington bureau breaking down the latest action taken by White House and Congress.
The House is expected to vote on a sweeping Republican border measure, while the White House is announcing new rules to try and deter illegal crossings. With thousands lining up along the southern border and a key limit on immigration set to expire, local communities.
This is a serious humanitarian crisis. It's no joke.
And the Biden administration preparing for an expected surge of migrants.
We are clear-eyed about the challenges we are likely to face in the days and weeks ahead, which have the potential to be very difficult.
DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announcing a new rule that will deny asylum to migrants who show up at the border without applying online first or seeking protection in a country they pass through. It follows plans to open regional migration hubs across the Western Hemisphere and tougher penalties for illegal crossings.
Our overall approach is to build lawful pathways for people to come to the United States and to impose tougher consequences on those who choose not to use those pathways.
The border has been a major crisis in our country for about 2 years now.
We sat down with House Majority Leader Steve Scalise to discuss the GOP's plans to tackle immigration.
We're going to bring this important bill, the Securing the Border Act, to the House floor Thursday and pass it.
The measure would restart border wall construction, re-implement the Remain in Mexico policy, and require asylum seekers to pay $50 and face tougher restrictions to apply. The White House vowing a veto, saying the bill makes the situation worse.
That only shows the president is not serious about fixing this problem. We as House Republicans are.
Do you feel like this proposal at least starts the negotiations?
Well, what we need to see is an actual recognition from Democrats in Washington that this is a problem that they want to solve.
And Democrats today announcing their own immigration bill, but that faces little chance of getting through the Republican-controlled chamber. In Washington, I'm Christopher Salas.
And the Department of Homeland Security estimates that as many as 13,000 migrants will illegally cross into the U.S. every day after Title 42 ends.
President Biden's top lawmakers agreeing to more talks aimed at raising the debt limit with just 3 weeks before the country may be forced into default. Coming up, we have the latest from Washington Plus.
I'm Robert Serra along Interstate 49 at what will soon be the new Oak Street overpass in Rogers. It's one of 2 overpass projects the city is working on. We'll get an update on the project's progress tonight at 9 and 10.
The White House, Democrats and Republicans in Congress appear that they are not closer to striking a deal on the debt limit, which experts say could spark economic chaos as soon as June 1st.
Despite no signs of progress, follow-up talks are scheduled for Friday with President Biden and top congressional leaders. But today, the president traveled to New York to lay out some of the economic damage that could occur if the two sides can't come to an agreement.
ABC's Justin Finch has the latest for us from Washington.
Clear rifts over the debt ceiling remain following President Biden's Gang of Four meeting with the top leaders in the House and Senate. Today, Biden traveled to a Republican congressional district in New York to blame MAGA Republicans for the inability to reach a deal on raising the debt limit and how it would impact Americans.
They're literally, not figuratively, holding the economy hostage.
During Tuesday's Oval Office meeting, the president and Senate leader Chuck Schumer accused House Speaker Kevin McCarthy of being the lone holdout, refusing to commit to raising the debt limit.
Speaker McCarthy must commit to taking default off the table.
The Treasury Secretary and other financial leaders urgently warning that time is running out.
I was very clear with the president. We have now just 2 weeks to go.
While Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell publicly said the U.S. will not default, he also told Biden to not attempt to go around Congress and use the 14th Amendment to raise the debt ceiling.
Just one way to prevent a pointless, avoidable crisis, the bipartisan negotiation that Speaker McCarthy has been calling for.
McCarthy and congressional Republicans want spending cuts before approving a debt limit hike. The White House wants no preconditions. A debt ceiling increase would allow the U.S. government to pay for expenses it already owes. The nation could hit default as early as June 1st, which experts say could result in a global economic catastrophe.
The gross national product might contract over the following 12 months as much as 6 or 7%, that millions of jobs would be lost.
And there was some good economic news as a new report found U.S. inflation was less than expected. But economists caution a debt limit default would ruin the nation's efforts to stem inflation, and the president plans to meet with those same congressional leaders on Friday. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
All right, let's take a look and see how Wall Street did today. Dow Jones down 73 points, the Nasdaq down 77 points. The S&P 500, though, with a small bump, up 10 points. As for our local stocks of interest, Walmart down 43 cents a share. Tyson Foods down $1.54 a share, but J.B. Hunt with a small bump, up 70 cents a share.
Okay, let's talk about that forecast. Active weather week. It's storming in some places right now.
Yeah, Darby, I know you're tracking these storms, kind of chances every day this week. It's really kind of unfolding exactly like you said it would. I guess we should probably get used to it the rest of the week.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, yes. But I will say this. I think we get a bit of a break in the action tomorrow afternoon. And, you know, a lot of that kind of carries into Friday. The chance isn't as great on Friday. Our best chances in the near term are certainly tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we get that break tomorrow afternoon. Could see a strong storm Thursday night, but very isolated. Chance Friday into Friday night, certainly, but the chances come back up for the weekend. And the chances there, bottom line, right through early next week. It's an active pattern. Now, out there right now, we can see in Springdale and from Lowell right here, we're seeing pretty active weather going on right now, and looks like maybe some action going on I-49 here going southbound. But we've had plenty of rain in the River Valley, too. Temperatures in the 70s. We believe we had some sort of incident, though we haven't gotten a report from Arkansas State Police yet. We had some sort of incident going northbound on the very north side of Bentonville earlier. You still see that traffic through Bentonville going northbound I-49. I'd avoid that area in the near term. Now, likely because of some heavy downpours we had earlier, all from this system. You can see a little bit of a spin right here moving north through Arkansas. We're on the kind of northwest quadrant of it, and so we're getting that rain from the east to west and very heavy downpours. This one that just moved through Rogers and Bentonville really dropped some hefty rain around West Fork earlier as well. Still have some in Madison, Carroll County, and we've got spotty showers across the River Valley too. So throughout the night, yeah, decent chances of off and on showers in the River Valley, but by tomorrow afternoon, looking quiet. High temperatures back to low to mid 80s by tomorrow afternoon. Northwest Arkansas we'll see those temperatures, or we'll see those rain chances continue through late morning, but also our afternoon looks quieter. Highs tomorrow, mid-upper 70s. We don't warm up a ton. But farther west, they do warm up quite a bit. Could have an outbreak of severe weather tomorrow evening in Oklahoma and Kansas. And then some of that could try to make a run at northwest Arkansas late Thursday night to Friday morning. We'll have to watch that. Otherwise, as we go into Friday, not as active, a little warmer, just as humid, and warm and humid for all of our Mother's Day weekend. Not a washout of a weekend, but the chances for showers and thunder showers there both days. Could even be a stronger storm Saturday. Maybe Sunday as well, but we'll have to watch that. As we go into Monday, temperatures drop. It becomes more of a situation which we're not seeing thunderstorms, we're just seeing spotty showers Monday, maybe into Tuesday too. Cooler air, eventually a drop in humidity, but certainly cooler. In the River Valley for us, same thing, mid-upper, mid-80s for the most part through the weekend. We get that drop in temperatures next week as well, but rain chances continue. And again, if you've got Mother's Day plans this weekend that are outdoors, I wouldn't necessarily cancel them, but just be prepared to go indoors pretty quickly as you might need to, both Saturday and Sunday. We're forecasting for Mulberry today, right there on the Mulberry River, one of the greatest rivers in Arkansas. Love that river so much. Beautiful river to float this time of year. Jim Higgins of Fayetteville, you get today's umbrella. Congratulations to Jim, because we got it right. We give away an umbrella. And tomorrow we're forecasting for Huntsville, not too far from the Buffalo River, a little bit west of the Buffalo River. There in Madison County. High there in Madison County, a little cooler than the rest of us, right around 76 tomorrow. If you stay with us, we'll be right back after the break.
It's a Hog Wild Wednesday. Let's get you over the hump and cruising towards the weekend with some savvy sports knowledge. And we begin with a live look at Bogle Park tonight. Day 2 of the SEC softball tournament. 4 games scheduled today, but we know these games were delayed because of the weather. Thanks, Darby. We're going to keep a close eye on how these storms are going to impact the rest of the tournament. Well, the defending SEC champion Hogs, they won't hit the field until tomorrow, but today we heard from head coach Courtney Deifel, and as excited as she is to host the tournament, she says it hasn't been without some unforeseen challenges.
It's obviously different because you can't just come and go as you please. So that's one thing. We can't just practice on our field. Like yesterday, we had 35 minutes on our field, which we understand, because we're putting on a tournament where a lot of teams need to practice. The one thing that quite honestly, I didn't really account for because we'd never had to experience it, is our players are still in finals. And so when you're in town, you're still dealing with finals today and trying to schedule finals around practice. Whereas if we're on the road, they would have already been done.
As for the baseball team, we know who and where they will play this weekend. We just don't know which Hogs will suit up. Razorbacks have been plagued with injuries this season, but have still found ways to win. In fact, they're ranked third in the country and tied for first in the SEC. A real test arrives Friday, though, with the number 6 ranked Gamecocks coming to town. Both teams are 36-12 on the season. The final SEC series of the regular season should be a good one. Game times right there on your screen. And lastly, the SEC men's and women's track and field championships get started tomorrow in Baton Rouge. They run Thursday through Saturday. The men's team comes in ranked number 2 nationally, while the women are ranked 3rd in the country. That's your Hump Day Hog Wild Sports Report. We're going to wrap up this newscast next.
If you're looking to cool off from all this heat and humidity, you are in luck. The city of Fayetteville will open the Walker Park splash pad this weekend.
That's right. It's going to be open every day, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. starting this Saturday. That'll be through September 17th. The pad includes floor geysers, colorful and interactive above-ground spray features, and a large dump bucket, sure to create endless excitement. The best part, it's free. There are some rules you have to follow, though. You can read them on the City of Fayetteville's website.
And before you know it, all the water attractions will be open.
You know, right now, around our area, there's plenty of water coming down from the sky. You don't even need to go to a splash pad. So we'll have more on that coming up later tonight at 9 on the CW and 10 o'clock right back here on ABC.
You're watching 4029 News.